as you move throughout your day, as you move throughout your week, decide that it does not matter one iota what happened yesterday. When I pick up the phone to make that dial, as soon as I hang that up, I loved watching Ultimate Agent because you could see the people who, when they hung it up, it didn't matter. And you could see the people who, and everyone learned over the course of it, but those, when they hung it up, it still that still mattered. And guess what happened when they called on the next person, right? There's so many examples of this. We see it every single day. We hear about it all the time. Why are you continuing to punish yourself in that way? Why not choose to live in the present, to live in the here and now, the possibility of what you can do in this very moment? That is what I would like to charge you with as you leave this conference.
We're going to roll right into our next speaker, who is gosh, one of the most impressive people in the insurance world today. Our next speaker has built a monster has the largest agency, if not one of, with Symmetry Financial Group. He's a serial entrepreneur with one of the most impressive resumes I've ever seen. He has a massive heart for this industry and is ready to help you achieve more. I call him the Beast from the Southeast, all the way from Puerto Rico. 8%, get on your feet. Help me welcome to the stage, Edward Pritchett.
Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. If you want the truth, don't close your eyes. We got our back against the wall, we gotta fight back. I need a thing.
Good morning, good morning. Who's feeling the best in here right now? Who's feeling the best? Okay, everybody's feeling really good. First and foremost, thank you to Cody and Lauren Askins for this. This is something, I've been in this industry now for 14 years. I know I look young. I started when I was like 12. Been in this industry for 14 years, and this is something that has been needed in such a big way. To be able to bring our industry together to where we can help support, to lift up one another, to share what we're learning, because here's the one thing I do know. No one knows everything. There's no one person in here who knows everything that you need to know to make it in this industry or any other industry. Or how about this, life in general. Anybody have the secret to life yet? Do we know who that person is? Have we found them yet? So I wanted to be able to give just a little bit of what I've learned, what I've been able to experience, not just in this industry, but in life. Because you all have heard a lot of great things about how to sell insurance, types of insurance, marketing strategies. That's necessary. I loved what Coach Burt was saying earlier. You know, there's the mind that needs to be trained, there's the body that needs to be trained, there's the heart, and there's the spirit. So I'm going to kind of walk the line of the spirit a little bit. Is that okay? Because here's the thing, if we leave that out, like people say, well, that's not business. Is life business? Is your life your business? Is your life dictated by how well your business does? The resources that you get, the resources that you're able to provide for your family? If we don't cross that line from time to time and we totally ignore it, then there's always going to be a hole in your long-term game. So here's what I'm hoping that you will be able to receive today. That you're going to get something that when you think back on the words that I'm speaking, it will help you realize that time is an illusion. The way you think about it, the way we all think about it, time is an illusion. Our perception of it isn't really real. And I'm using a couple of things. I get a little nerdy. I was a chemical engineering degree in college, okay? I don't know how I ended up insurance, like most of you probably don't know how you ended up insurance either, right? But all this stuff that we see on a day-to-day basis is a projection of the past. And the thing that keeps most of us where we are is that we see the past as the present. And we live in that moment as though it were the present, but we're actually living in the past. Have any of you ever said these phrases before? I don't know why this keeps happening to me. Here we go again. Isn't this the same thing that happened last year when this occurred? Like, am I speaking to the wrong? Have any of you ever thought that, said it out loud? Or how about this one? Maybe it was your spouse that said it to you. Why is this happening again, honey? Anybody ever heard that one? Right? So, as we think about this ideal of what is our perception of time, what is time, we have to come to a realization about what it is that we're doing before we can realize what we want. All right, so think about that. Realization leads to something being realizable. Think on that for just a second. Realization leads to something being realizable. If I don't realize my situation, I can't make something happen about it. If I continue to walk in the dark, I stumble over stuff, right? Anybody ever woke up at the middle of the night, like you get up and you can't see, and therefore as you're groping your way to the door to the bathroom, you stub the toe and then you get to feel the pain of it, right? So what I'm hoping, again, this moment can do for you is help you to find that place where you can realize where you actually are. Because here's what I would say that most of you are in. You're in a better place than you think you are. Because you're actually in a place that we call the present. You're not in the past. The past is what? The past is gone. So why do we keep living there? Why do we keep inhabiting that space? Why do we keep saying, oh no, it's happened again? It's because we haven't realized where we are. You haven't realized where you are. And I'm here to tell you, you're in the present. You are firmly in the present, in this moment, right now, in this room at 8%. The past has this amount of percentage of good to you right now in what's going to happen next. And what I mean by that is that you can learn from the past, you can take things and get new insights about who you are and what you want to do next, but the past is not determining your present unless you let it. And that's the realization that I want you to be able to take from this moment. So let's do this real quick. I'm gonna go science first, okay? So, let me go back. Are you guys seeing that? I can't see that you're seeing it, okay. So, this picture, anybody heard of the James Webb telescope? A couple people, nobody, some people? All right, I got some science nerds, yes. Some science nerds in the room then, okay. So the James Webb telescope is a telescope that NASA recently set up, got it going, and it has given us pictures of the universe unlike we've ever seen before. This picture right here is the Carina Nebula. What you're looking at is gas clouds that are 10 billion light years away, all right? In this image right here, there's a spot, it's a speck. Like I don't even know which one it is, right? The scientists, the real scientists, can tell you where it is. But in this image, there is a galaxy that based off of how we see light, we're seeing light from almost 13 billion years ago. Just 300 million years after the Big Bang. This galaxy right here, or series of galaxies, Stephen's quintet, right? We're looking at 6 to 7 billion years ago in that image. Now, why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this because this is what light does. It's not a if and or but. It's like gravity, right? If I drop this, it's going to fall. I can't stop gravity from working, all right? Light takes time to go from one place to another. And the time that this light has taken has been billions of years. So you know what has happened in these galaxies over the last billions of years? Those galaxies may not even exist right now. That's the present we live in. But we're looking back and we're seeing the past in that particular moment. Now, let's collapse that down to our time frame here, right? Now, I'm looking at you guys right now, and it takes just a couple seconds for light, not even a couple seconds, milliseconds, nanoseconds, femtoseconds for the light to reach me to you. But even in that minute, that second, that fraction of a second, I'm not seeing Brian for who he is in his present. I'm seeing you just a little bit in the past by looking at you right now. But what am I going to judge him by? I'm going to judge him by the past. I'm going to judge him by what I knew of him in the past or experiences that I had of him in the past. But is that who he is right now? If I judge Brian by the images of him from 1996, 97, would I be judging the real Brian? Let's take this a little bit closer to home for some of you gents in the room. Any of y'all ever been in a fight? You ever just, you hit somebody good and they hit you back real good? It happens. Ladies, I know some of y'all are fighters too. I'm not trying to not leave y'all out. I know some of y'all are fighting too, right? So when you're in a fight, do you feel the pain of that fight? Like when you're just going at it, when somebody's after you, you're fighting for your life, right? Or how about this? Let's not make it too negative, like, okay, fighting might be bad. Some of y'all may have never been in a fight. What about if you're doing some athletic pursuit, right? When you're out on the field, when you're playing your heart out, do you feel the pain of that moment right then? No. When do you feel the pain? Tomorrow, right? When you got the stake on your eye. That's when I feel the pain. But was there pain happening in that moment? Pain was happening in that present moment, right? You didn't feel it until the day after. But is that pain still real in the present moment that you're in? So what do you get to operate off of? Do you get to operate off of what you're going to feel in the future or what you feel in the past? In that moment, you were operating off of that present moment, what was happening there. The future didn't exist, the past didn't exist, that person hit you, your pain sensors went off, but you kept going, right? You chose to decide in that moment that this is what I'm going to do. As I grew up, I had the privilege of being raised by parents who, and I loved what Ed Milet was saying yesterday, they didn't neglect me by not going for their dreams. Grew up in a middle-class family, Western North Carolina. Both parents worked. Dad was an entrepreneur, still is an entrepreneur. And all of the time, they showed us what we could be. Anybody ever read the Robb Report? Robb Report? My parents had Robb Reports all over our house. And what is this household where maybe our total income was about $120,000, $130,000 at the time, which seemed like a lot, but we still had 2 mortgages on the house, right? We still struggled to make all the bills get paid on a regular basis. But they kept putting out these dreams. They kept saying, hey, write this on the wall, write this on the mirror, look at this every single day. And all of my childhood, I was instructed and told, you can be whatever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do. Don't take the past and bring it into the present. And that was all in good, and I achieved a lot of my goals in middle school, high school, going to college. And then something happened, and I think it's happened to probably every single one of us. We get into, at some point in time in our life, maybe it's your late teens, maybe it's your 20s, maybe it's your 30s, where everything that you thought was supposed to be happening for you didn't happen yet. Anybody ever been at that point? Anybody ever been at that point where it's like, wait, I'm not supposed to be here right now. I'm supposed to be making income. I'm supposed to have the cars. I'm supposed to be flying in private jets. I'm supposed to have the big house. Anybody remember that poster? This is a 90s poster, so we'll see 90s children, where there was the big mansion on the hill and there was the garage with like 8 bays and there was like all luxury cars in that garage. Anybody ever saw that poster or ever had that poster, right? That's what I was supposed to be doing when I was 25. And I hit 25 and I wasn't there. And then I started to think. Then I started to reflect. I started to say, oh, well, so this is who I am. All that stuff that I said I was going to do, that's not who I am. I'm going to be this guy. And so for 3 to 4 years, I wallowed in that place. I decided that because I hadn't gotten everything I wanted at a specific time, that I was now going to let that past, the past of me not having, define me. And I started to live in that place. I started to be that person. I was the broke person. And guess what I continued to be? The broke person. I let that past that I had lived through, like I had lived through a time where I didn't have everything I wanted, that I wasn't achieving all the things that I was wanting to achieve. And I let that start to define my present. Instead of continuing on the journey that I had been on, I shifted. I shifted away because I thought that the past, this last week, this last day, this last month, this last year of not having was what was defining me. And that continued to carry on. And it wasn't until I had a wise coach step into my life and say, why do you keep doing that? Why do you keep reflecting back on that guy? Is that who you are? And David, I had to look at myself and say, no, that's not who I am. I came to a realization point that my past was not what defined me. Your yesterday does not define you. We think it does, right? And I love what some folks have been saying from this stage. Like, if I'm going to let past experiences, past beliefs about me, past anything define me in my present, then I'm doomed to continue to repeat that past. So everything that you've been taking from this last couple of days, if you continue to live as the man or woman you were last week when you leave here, guess what you're going to get next week? Guess what you're going to get 6 months from now? Guess what you're going to get a year from now? You're going to get exactly that. You're going to get that past. You're going to keep living in that past. And this is something for those of you sitting up here in this front row too, right? You've gotten to a certain place. You've gotten to a point in your business, right, where things are good, but is that the end? Or am I going to just live in that place and continue to perpetuate this for the next 6 months, a year, 2 years? Or am I on a journey? Am I on a mission to make what I'm doing larger and bigger than who I am right now? And that's what we all can do if we so choose. But we have to realize, I've realized that yesterday, I've realized that even the last 5 minutes ago, I'm a different person now because of what I've just done over the past 5 minutes. And that's where I'm going to operate. Find that ability in yourself to have that realization, to know that your past can stop defining you as soon as you decide for it to stop defining you. This is a moment of awakening for anybody. When that happens, Roger, you get so excited when you're able to really let that go. You can talk about it in terms of forgiveness. You can talk about it in terms of letting go. You can talk about it in terms of acceptance, whatever it is. But guess what? What that one person said 5 years ago should never have to pop up in your mind anymore. That one failure, that 6th failure, right? When you bounced that check 3 weeks ago, that doesn't have to define you unless you decide to let it continue to define you. So why are you letting it continue to define you? We all know that the past is the past, but we don't think about it in those terms on a regular basis. And what I'm inviting you to do is think about it in those terms. As you move throughout your day, as you move throughout your week, decide that it does not matter one iota what happened yesterday. When I pick up the phone to make that dial, as soon as I hang that up, I loved watching Ultimate Agent because you could see the people who, when they hung it up, it didn't matter. And you could see the people who, and everyone learned over the course of it, but those, when they hung it up, it still that still mattered. And guess what happened when they called on the next person, right? There's so many examples of this. We see it every single day. We hear about it all the time. Why are you continuing to punish yourself in that way? Why not choose to live in the present? To live in the here and now, the possibility of what you can do in this very moment. That is what I would like to charge you with as you leave this conference. Take the notes, take everything that you've gathered, take the encouragement, the motivation, the energy that you've gotten from all this, and use it in that present moment every single time that you have that moment. Every single time that one of those thoughts from the past come up, say, nope, I'm here, I'm not there. I'm here, I'm not there. Every moment, I'm here, I'm not there. You do that, guys, we have a glorious future to experience after this. Thank you very much.
Hey, if you enjoyed this, I got another one you're gonna love. It's right there. Click on it. See you in there. All right, you have your license. What's next? I'm gonna go over 6 things that you need immediately to make 6 figures your first year as an insurance agent. Okay, so as we go through each of these, I want you to be thinking about, okay, how do I implement those? Because if I have to have